It's 6 o'clock, so I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. We're going to start with a student-led invocation. Ms. Kendra Davis.
Please stand and bow your heads.
Dear Lord, thank you for blessing us with this day. Thank you especially for this district and all those in it. Ask for your hand and blessing over our district and the success and safety of each student. I also ask that you give the board guidance and direction as we approach the end of this semester. Thank you again for your many blessings. Amen.
Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is the affirmation of the agenda. We've all received copies of it, and it's been published. Are there any changes to that?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next is approval of the minutes from our November 12th, 2024 meeting.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then board comments.
That's me. I do have some comments. So I was able to attend the School Board Association Delegate Assembly over the weekend. And one of the speakers, of course, was the state superintendent. And she recognized the districts that have done an outstanding job with testing. And it was nice to be in all those people and just a handful of folks that were able to stand up. And of course, I was one of them in our district. So thank you to our teachers and our administrators, all the way from the primary school. You guys are the ones that get everything started with our kids and teaching them the basics all the way up to the high school. So that was nice to be there. So hopefully we can continue that, and actually learned a lot of stuff. I learned that people like to argue about stuff, but that's okay. So, but anyway, it was nice to be there and be recognized as part of our district. So, good job. Thank y'all.
And we don't have anything, no one signed up for public comments, so we'll go on through that. And we have a great part of the agenda here. We have recognition of the Heart of the Wildcat recipients.
Good evening. Our staff at 96 Primary School has the opportunity each month to vote on and recognize a Teacher of the Month and a staff member of the month. The character word that we chose for the month of November is gratitude. These staff members are known by their peers for showing appreciation to others and returning kindness to all. Our Teacher of the Month is Miss Candace Ellis. Miss Ellis is our RTI interventionist for 96 Primary School. I'm not sure how, but Miss Ellis is everywhere, all of the time. She provides small group instruction for our students who need extra support in the area of reading. Her lessons are always intentional for her individual students to help them in their weakest area. Miss Ellis is always trying to learn and find strategies that will help her students succeed. In addition, she is always a helpful hand when you need her. She asks how she can help. She volunteers herself, probably a little too much, and offers her time no matter what we are doing. She's always positive, and her first thought is always, how can I help the student? She is a blessing to have as a part of 96 Primary School. Thank you. Heels on and I do not. That's bad. All right, our staff member of the month is Miss Margaret Nettles. Miss Margaret is our secretary for 96 Primary School, and this is her first year with us. Miss Margaret came in and had a big job to do when she started with us at 96 Primary School. I actually wondered if she knew what she was getting herself into. Anyone who has been a part of a school building knows that they may call us the principal, but the secretary runs the show. From her first day, she has been a perfect fit. She is a quick learner. She's a positive light within our school office. She seems to read my mind at times already and has things ready for me even before I ask for it. She's organized. She already has her own system in place. She's inviting to our families who come in, and it is evident in the way that she interacts with our students that she has already built those positive relationships. I feel like I hit the jackpot when I found Miss Margaret. Miss Margaret couldn't be here. She had a family engagement, but she is a wonderful addition to our school this year.
Thank you. Weeds through. Good evening. At 96 Elementary, we have adopted life traits that coincide with the profile of a South Carolina graduate. Each month, we recognize students and staff members who exhibit life traits that set our school up for success. This month, our life trait was dependability. Our teachers and staff selected Tracy Reynolds, Tracy, if you'll come on up, as our Teacher of the Month for being very dependable. As our dedicated media specialist, Ms. Reynolds consistently demonstrates a strong commitment to our school and students. Throughout the year, she has always organized a variety of engaging activities, events in the library catering to the diverse interests of all students. From monthly events such as our Scholastic Book Fair to AR celebration and STEAM activities, Ms. Reynolds ensures that there is always something exciting for everyone. Her dependability is further reflected in her consistent library checkout schedule. Whenever adjustments are necessary, she promptly communicates any changes with teachers and staff, always offering flexibility in rescheduling to accommodate the needs of our school community. Ms. Reynolds also serves as our school webmaster. She maintains our school social media platforms, keeping parents and the community informed of all the great things happening at our school. Through her hard work and passion, Ms. Reynolds has transformed our school media center into a vibrant space where students can enjoy reading, learning, and having fun. Ms. Reynolds, we are incredibly grateful for all that you do for 96 Elementary. Ms. Kiss is our school secretary, and she could not be here tonight. As many of you know, Ms. Kiss is our school secretary. Often I call her our gatekeeper. Ms. Kiss plays a vital role in the seamless operation of our school. She is the cornerstone of our administrative team, ensuring that everything runs efficiently and without a hitch, often working behind the scenes to ensure that no detail is overlooked. Ms. Kiss has a unique ability to connect with parents, students, teachers, and staff in a way that makes everyone feel valued and heard. Her warm smile, approachable nature creates an inviting atmosphere where individuals feel comfortable and supported. She consistently goes above and beyond to meet the needs of all that are around her, demonstrating a level of care and compassion that makes a lasting impact on our school community. We are so fortunate to have Ms. Kiss as our school secretary.
Good evening. All right, at Edgewood Middle School this month, we chose our word is teamwork, and the two ladies that are here tonight representing Edgewood are great examples of teamwork. Teamwork can be described as when a group of individuals work together for a collective goal in an efficient manner. So both of these ladies exhibit working in an efficient manner, doing their jobs, but also pitching in and helping with everything. So our first one up, Miss Jones. Support staff of the month goes to someone who has shown teamwork and dealt with many changes over the last couple weeks. She has filled in, answered phones, covered classes, and done many other things, including her job responsibilities as well. She starts every morning off with helping us in the front office, getting school settled and on the right track. And everyone knows that can be a lot difficult, or real difficult at a lot of times. I mean, there's all kind of stuff going on in the morning, so she does a great job getting us settled into the school day. We are so thankful for her ability and for her to be a part of our team and the effort that she puts in daily to make our school function. Thanks for all you do to Ms. Jones. Now, Teacher of the Month. This teacher has shown tremendous teamwork over the last couple weeks in helping her fellow teachers out when they have needed help. She has volunteered to cover classes, pitch in to help students with tutoring after school, and provided excitement and energy on our 6th grade hall. Her demonstration of teamwork even went to the next level when she convinced fellow teachers and students who were Clemson fans to wear Gamecock attire the week after the game. That takes a lot of convincing. So in her classroom, she's always rocking it, and the students really enjoy her energy and enthusiasm. We are so thankful to have Ms. Hester as our 6th grade math teacher. Thank you, Ms. Hester, for all you do, and your coworkers and students in EMS appreciate you.
Good evening. The character work this month at 96 High School is kindness. Kindness is the quality of being friendly, generous, and considerate towards others. It involves treating people with respect, empathy, and compassion, often through small acts of care, help, or encouragement. Kindness is about understanding the feelings of others and responding in a way that promotes positive interactions and well-being. It can be shown through actions, words, or even a simple gesture, and it helps create a more supportive and harmonious environment. At 96 High School, we all come from different backgrounds, face unique challenges, and have our own dreams and struggles. But one thing that can always make a difference is kindness. It's easy to overlook, but small acts of kindness can transform our school into a place where everyone feels valued and supported. Kindness doesn't just mean being nice to your friends. It's about showing respect, offering a helping hand to someone in need, or even just listening when someone needs to talk. It's in the little gestures, a smile, a compliment, or a word of encouragement that can brighten someone's day more than we realize. Kindness also helps build a positive school culture. When we choose to be kind, we create an environment where people feel safe, included, and respected. It encourages others to do the same, creating a ripple effect that makes our school a better place for all of us. I'm pleased to announce that our support staff member of the month, as chosen by the faculty and staff of 96 High School, is Matthew Walworth. Mr. Walworth has been with our team since October and works with our special education department. The students he works with truly love him, and it's clear why. He has a genuine heart for children, and this dedication has helped his students grow in remarkable ways. Mr. Walworth meets his students where they are and consistently shows them how to meet high expectations. He understands each one of them and demonstrates how much he cares about and believes in their potential. He encourages them to do their best and serves as a role model in the process. Mr. Walworth doesn't just strive to be a positive example for his students, but also for every adult in the building. With a smile on his face, he greets everyone he meets in the halls, spreading positivity and kindness. Matthew Walworth truly shines here at 96 High School. Our teacher of the month is Coach Kayla Duncan. Coach Duncan teaches physical education and is the head coach for the girls' soccer team and serves as one of the FCA sponsors. She is known for being an excellent listener and problem solver. Coach Duncan is always ready to assist not only her own students, but any student at 96 High School who needs help. If she doesn't have the solution herself, she works to find the resources they need. Her love for children is evident in everything she does, and she often says, it's about the students, or it's about the children. She treats every student like they are her own, guiding them towards being good people and helping them realize their potential. Coach Duncan listens with empathy and responds with sincerity, and her dedication extends beyond her students to the entire faculty and staff. She played an integral role in organizing the Hall of Fame induction ceremony on October 18th, dedicating many hours to ensure it was a success. With her creative ideas and willingness to help others bring those ideas to life, she makes a lasting impact on all of us. While Coach Duncan humbly says she doesn't want to be a leader, her actions speak volumes, and it's clear that she is a leader in every sense of the word. Whether on the soccer field, in the classroom, or in any of her other endeavors, Coach Kayla Duncan is a true shining star at 96 High School.
I just want to add, I just tell them I don't want to be a principal.
Next on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Dr. Beth Taylor.
Thank you, Dr. Green. In your packet, you have field trips, professional leave, and fundraisers, and there are 2 overnight trips. We have the Beta Club from the elementary school that will be going to Myrtle Beach Convention, and then we have our Beta Club from the middle school going to the Myrtle Beach Beta Club Convention. So we need to approve both of those trips.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions concerning the field trip or anything in the packet? We also have a parenting report for your review. Any questions on the parenting report? All right, so at this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Anderson to come forward and talk to us a little bit about outside organizations registration in accordance with policy KB. Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
You're welcome. Good evening to all of you. If you would turn in your board packet to page 27, we have some outside organizations that meet the guidelines of policy KBE. And by law, they're supposed to register those outside organizations with the school district and ultimately with you. So each one of these organizations, 96 Primary PTO, 96 Elementary PTO, 96 High School Athletic Booster Club, 96 High School Band Booster Club, have registered with the school district. And through that registration process, those individuals that come into contact with the money pieces of that have also come to a SLED check, and all of them have clear background checks that I'd like to report to you. So that part of the law has been upheld. In addition to that, they are tasked with providing you some information as a board about what their budget is now, what their spending goals are, and any ideas they have to raise additional funds. So I've included that information. Behind each one of the outside organization registrations is a report from 96 PTO, 96 Primary PTO, 96 Elementary PTO, Band Booster, and Athletic Booster for your information. Now, if you have any additional questions about what's on those plans, we have representatives here from each of those organizations, principals and/or treasurers and/or presidents that can address any questions that you might have. So I'm gonna pause a minute and give you a second to see if you have any other needs in terms of that information.
I would ask a question about the Booster Club, but that's me, so I'm not, no.
Okay? All right, and from here on out, this registration will occur at the beginning of the year, each year, July 1, and will be in your July board packets. We're a little bit behind the 8 ball this time with the passage of the policy, so we wanted to make sure that we had this piece done for the remainder of the school year. Okay? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is finance, Mr. Andrew Mackey.
Good evening, everyone. As part of my monthly financial update, I typically do, I'd also like to tack on some information about our audit that just got finished earlier this month. So I'll start with our monthly financials. Through November 30th, our revenue's sitting right about 3.3 million, and our expenses are about 5.8 million. If you look at your 5-year comparison that's in your packet, we pretty much fall right in line with where we've been through this point in the year for the last 5 years. In addition to that, last week I annualized out all of our expenses for the rest of the year. You just take your current spending patterns and project that out for 12 months. And if all stays the same, we should come in under budget where our expenses are budgeted, which is good news. Also, the State Department adjusts the amount of money you get two times throughout the year, once after the 45-day student count and once after the 135-day student count. We got our 45-day count updated numbers during November, and they're actually about $140,000 higher than where we budgeted. We back off our initial projection, we back off a good chunk of money every year because we typically lose money at the 45-day count. So this was actually the first year we gained a little bit from the initial projection. So we're about $140,000 to the good on that as well. So that's also good news. There's still some questions with our local revenue with Fujifilm. They filed some initial tax returns that were all zeros. I think probably just to file them by the deadline. They're going back to amend them to get the accurate numbers. So we still really don't know what that number, what that revenue or lack thereof is going to be. So that's still a question that's out there, but all the data we have now is good news for this year. And so now I'll jump into, I believe it's page 55 in your guys' packet. It's the page that says the 96 School District General Fund analysis at the top. Our auditors, Manley Garvin, finished our audit and submitted to the state timely. The deadline was December 2nd. The audit was actually finished before Thanksgiving, but by the time they dotted all their I's and crossed all their T's, we submitted it on December 2nd. So it was submitted timely. I don't want to take too much of their thunder. I know that's a really exciting presentation, and they will be here in January to give that to you guys. So without taking too much of their thunder, I did want to go over mainly where our general fund is sitting after the last fiscal year. So if you look at that chart, in 2024, our general fund revenue was 17 million. Our general fund expenditures were about 15.5 million. If you take our net transfers, which are just money movement between our different funds, that was a transfer out of 4.7 million. So then our total net change in our general fund balance was a decrease of $3 million. Now, that includes the $4.5 million we transferred out in August into our capital projects fund to complete this project and for just any other maintenance projects we have. So if you take out that non-recurring one-time capital projects fund transfer that we made in August, we actually added about $1.3 million to our fund balance. A big portion of that increase was from, we had a timing difference with Fujifilm when they canceled out all their fee agreements. They got assessed actually at the state level and at the local level. So we got an increase, a one-time increase in revenue last year. About $1 million. It was less than $1 million, but it's close enough that I'm going to round up. So if you take out that non-recurring revenue piece, we still added, our revenue still exceeded our expenditures by about $400,000. So I mean, that just goes to show you that one, we're budgeting well, we're staying within our budget, we're monitoring our expenditures. So it was a really good fiscal year for us. That being said, our general fund balance as of 6/30/2024 was $6.4 million. The GFOA, the Government Finance Oversight something association, they recommend you have 2 months of fund balance in your 2 months of expenditures in your fund balance. We have 5. Our board policy states that we have to have a minimum of 25% of expenditures. So that number is about 3.9 million. We're $2.5 million over that minimum. Our board policy also states that if you have more than 30%, the board should consider using it for non-recurring transactions. So we're also about $1.6 million over that 30% maximum. So we could, decide to use some of that money, you guys could, on a non-recurring item like a building or something that we won't have to, not salaries pretty much, something we won't be on the hook for going forward. We could also use some of that money to say, hey, with Fujifilm and Ascend closing, we want to save as much as we can to weather that storm. So we've got some different options on what we could do with some of our excess fund balance. So that being said, I'll turn it over to you guys if you have any questions on where we're at in the current year, fund balance, any of the information I just went over.
Just so I'm clear, our last meeting, or I don't know if it's our last one, but we talked about the bond and talked about this list of potential things. That's different from this.
That's a different pot of money, yes.
Okay. Just want to be clear on that.
Different pot.
That was a good list of stuff, so I didn't.
Yeah.
I know over the past couple of months, it seemed like we had talked about giving some bonuses to our staff. And in keeping with the other districts in our area, I would like to make a recommendation that we give $300 bonus to our permanent employees as of today. So whatever number that comes up to, well, first off, I'm gonna ask you this, because before the motion gets made, financially, we're okay with that, correct?
Yeah, so if we do $300, we have about, give or take, 210 employees. So that's about $63,000, and then you pick up the employer portion of the employment taxes that we'll still have to withhold.
Right.
We're looking at probably $70,000, $75,000. So considering we have a pretty significant $1.6 million in excess of our ceiling, I think that's something we can definitely afford.
But you said that couldn't be used for salaries, but since this be a one-time bonus, it would not be considered salaries, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
I'd like to make that motion. Or any other discussion? Sorry, I'm jumping the gun.
Sounds good.
So you're gonna make the motion?
I'd like to make the motion, I think, Brian.
Yep. Do we have a second?
Can you second?
Oh, can I second it? Yeah.
Yeah, you second it, because me and Darren have people to work here.
I was gonna say, we have to recuse ourselves, but you can't,
Oh, right,
you can't
okay.
second,
Oh, you're
London
right.
has to second,
Yeah, okay.
if London can
All
hear
right.
us.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
And then real quick, I'll go over where we're at with our
Jennifer.
capital projects.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Our capital projects update, this is the list of the projects from our bond. Our access controls at the primary school and our security cameras both are in process. The Johnson Controls guys were there doing some door hardware stuff last week, was it? Yeah. And then the electricians are gonna come at some point and start pulling wire and getting that up and going. A new projector at the high school was on the list. Solutions Inc. is who got that contract. It's on state contract. They did all the audiovisual work over here, and they actually gave us that quote for a new projector several months back. And just,
Let me ask you a question. So will the projector be in the cafeteria? Is that where it's going? Or?
I mean, that's where we had looked at going and putting it.
So it'll be projector, drop-down screen?
Yeah, they looked at the drop-down screen, and the drop-down screen they said is in really good shape.
Okay.
It's just the projector.
And I guess the reason I'm asking is because, you know, you kind of getting away from projectors now with technology as far as screens.
This projector has like Bluetooth and
okay. So it's a high def 4K, whatever.
Yeah, and it like we don't have a ViewSonic board big enough for if like the high school has all their staff meetings or something.
Yep.
We've had district meetings there before. They do, I don't know what else you guys do over there. Award ceremonies, board meetings, stuff like that. And the current projector in there now, like it's you can't barely read it.
Gotcha.
And so this was actually something that's sort of been talked about, replacing the projector the entire time I've been in the district, which is, I don't know, going on 4 years now. So.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying, because, you know, I know where we are, we got, for our commission meetings, we got like 75-inch TVs, all digital, HDMI plugins and all that stuff, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, when it was first brought to me, like, hey, we need a new projector, I had the same thought. I said, well, I mean, is it outdated? But no, it's pretty deluxe.
Sounds good to me.
So, in regards to the project updates, is everything done at the multiplex? Or
yeah, I mean, we've got a couple like small punch list items that they're still addressing. Like some of the door, like this door out here, the one that doesn't have a pull handle, they're bringing us a pull handle to put on there.
Gotcha.
So I mean, just it's like very minor things that you probably could walk through here and not see any of it, unless Dave Vickery's here all the time, so he catches them. He's our quality control guy.
I know we had about 400 kids at an event over the weekend, and in the bleacher of the gym, there's no way to get up under there safely.
Yeah.
Whether to clean it or if someone drops their phone. So I was just curious,
So those are the original bleachers.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't do anything with that.
There's kind of a trap door there, but I just wonder how we're going to clean that for insects or bugs or whatever, or is it dangerous for a child to go up in there to get someone's phone?
You think they cleaned it when we were here?
At least they could push it back then.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So, but anyway, that's just, I just noticed that since we had a big event there this weekend.
Yeah.
That was just a concern. When several people brought their phones down there and children went up under there to get stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean.
There's a section that's removable.
Yeah.
There's a section that's removable, but
Yeah.
We talked about putting a door in.
Maybe just have a safe way and we can guide people. And I don't want a child to get stuck up under there or then to bump their head and need 5 stitches when they're up under there either. So.
Yeah, I mean, Dave and I have talked about, cutting in a door on the wall somewhere you could get into the hallway. And we'll keep looking at that.
And that saying that with our non-recurring funds or that excess right now, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something we could, we'll look into that for sure. Because it's been mentioned before, so it's not, a maiden voyage. And then some of our upcoming projects, like the track resurfacing, we'll start that process first thing in January. The procurement for that's going to take about a month, and it's going to, people are going to have to come look at it and take measurements. So figured it wasn't the best process to start with Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. So we'll start that in January. Classroom furniture, I said that'll start in January, but we've actually started. I think Kelly's meeting with her teachers sometime soon, if not already, to start that process. I talked to our one of the furniture guys. All classroom furniture is on state contract, so one of the guys I've dealt with before who did all the furniture over here, I talked to him today too about getting some drawings of stuff they've done recently and catalogs and all that, so that we're starting that process as well. And then the other things on the list were the generators. We need a new boiler at the high school and then a maintenance vehicle. We'll address those throughout the rest of this year as well.
Sounds good.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, next on the agenda is safety. Go back to Drew.
y'all's package, you should have the monthly report for November. Primary school had 3, had 2 fire alarms, and a vehicle accident. Elementary had 2, a fire alarm, and a assist agency report. Middle school 0, high school 1 with an information report. Alternative school 0, transportation had a stop arm violation and a vehicle wreck which involved one of the buses. The high school baseball field 0, the multiplex 0, district office 0, gives you 8 total for the month. That is down from 10 last month and is the same as this time last year. Drills and training, all the schools did their fire drills, which the dates are on there for you. The complex, what we call the high school, middle school, did the bus evacuations, and the primary school also did their bus evacuation. Primary school did their active intruder drill, which during that drill they did an alarm pull, fire alarm pull. So when they all locked down and we pulled the fire alarm to see what happens, and they all did exactly what they were supposed to do. So then the elementary school did their drill, which they did a standard drill over there. Updates and information on the 25th of November. Staff from 96 High School, Edgewood Middle School, and the district office met to discuss the implementation of open gate weapon detection systems in the high school and middle school. We went over policies and procedures and other logistical items in preparation for the launch of these, and we've already done it twice this month. We'll report to that next month. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is policies, Ms. Kathy Anderson.
Okay, so in terms of policies, the first reading policies start on page 68, and they end up on page 111. And they include the district wellness, competitive food sales and vending machines, the administrative rule for that policy in the exhibits, and then KF, community use of school facilities, administrative rule for that one, and the exhibits as well. So I'm gonna pause for a minute on the second reading policies to entertain any additional questions that you might have concerning those policies. And if there are no questions from the floor, then I would like to seek a motion to approve those policies.
Those the first readings were which numbers, Ms. Anderson?
Second reading.
It's second reading, they start at ADF and they all the way to the exhibits 1 through 5 community facilities.
Through page 111.
Through page 111, yes,
All
sir.
right, so if we, with the competitive food policy, if we approve that policy, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but during lunch hours at each school, there'll be nothing else that can be served during that time, correct? It'd just be school food or lunch they bring from home.
That is correct, because competitive means doing something simultaneously while serving the traditional lunch.
Okay,
That's the
so
definition of competitive.
I guess my question is currently, of course, that we've got 2 drink machines at the cafeteria at the middle school and the high school. So do they use those drink machines during lunch now?
It's my understanding that those drink machines in each of the cafeterias have beverages that meet the requirement of the beverages inside this policy, such as water, such as caffeine intake. Now, it is also my understanding that the other vending machines throughout the building are used for adults. They have Diet Coke in them, they have Sprite, those traditional type things that adults can have, and that's not against the policy. The policy is that you have to meet what's in those vending machines has to meet the requirements of the beverages.
So they'll, as long as they meet the requirements, they'll still be able to use them during their scheduled
Correct.
lunch times.
Correct.
I just don't wanna see us take something away from the kids.
And it's
honestly.
not my intention to try to do that.
Yeah.
You know, these are not Kathy Anderson's policies. These
Oh, yeah.
are U.S. Department of Agriculture policies.
Right.
So, there's some pieces of this I kinda go, oh wow, too, as well.
Well,
But they are things that you have to comply with. You are audited by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They come in and monitor how you're doing with these processes about once every 3 years. And they provide a report back for things that you have to fix if they find something wrong. So they're looking for these items that are in these two policies, basically.
Gotcha. All right, on the other one, the use of the facilities.
Mhm.
You know, we emailed back and forth, and I'll just be honest with you. I think that if there's it mentions in there about funerals or memorial services, whatever. My personal opinion, I think that if that was a need in our community because of who we are, that our facilities need to be used for that. And as long as it did not interrupt school, I personally think that we should allow that to be done. I mean, with the way our community is, I mean, the chances of it ever happening is probably slim to none, but I'm not sure we leave that in there.
I think one of the parts of that is that we can voluntarily do it. Am I right, Ms. Anderson?
But I think if it says we ain't gonna do it in that policy, we can't do it.
Well, from the rental standpoint, we wouldn't rent it out to anyone, but if we had a student or a situation, Ms. Anderson, can you tell me about that?
There are a couple of things that concern me here. I wasn't prepared for the volunteering part of it. But one of the issues with volunteering it is that you're not charging for it,
Correct.
okay? The other issue is if you do charge, you're using a public facility for a private gain. Also, as I addressed in the email back to you on Friday, I have concerns about the First Amendment, separation of church and state. These are state public facilities. And to promote a religious service of one religion would mean if you decided to do that, I don't think you could say no to other religions. And I don't know how that would make those that are asking the questions feel. Also, sometimes if you have funerals inside school buildings and children of those funerals attend, they put together that as part of their memory of the building. And it is somewhat traumatic. So I think I emailed 4 or 5 points that I shared with you guys about my feelings about that. Of course, you are the board. You can do as you would like with the policies. But I would humbly ask before you make a decision like that, that you seek the advice of an attorney who can advise you as a board what the best practice would be.
I will say this about Rock Hill, and that's what we have modeled. We take our model from, they do not do any of those events, like a funeral or a wedding or any family events because of the church and state where normally it would be in a church. But if we have an event where we would recognize a student or a memorial more than a funeral, which would be different in my mind, then that would be a consideration. But not for an outside person, that would be going back to our district and people within it. Because I think that's where our heart is, and that's what you're getting to.
Yep.
We serve the community, and we love these kids, and we take care of them, and so we would not want to rule that out as a request. But I think what Ms. Anderson's saying, what legally and to protect us, we cannot open our buildings up for a funeral or for a wedding, or you get on a different ground.
Right.
I think there's does that make, am I making sense?
It
Like
does. It does make sense. Yeah, but I of course, I don't see where we would, if the case come up, I don't see where we would charge for that. Charge a family for that. But I do see what you're saying. What do you guys think? Gotcha.
Well, I like the idea that, by calling it a memorial, we could get out, you say we get out of that, in the sense we could admit, that's never necessary, but we could do that, and that would be an option then.
But like graduation, sometimes a parent wants to have an open chair, or a parent wants to have whatever, we have a limited recognition. We could do an array of things, but we are doing what we've traditionally done, so we make decisions based on what's best for that family and the student, and then what we've done with other students. So we bring recognition, but we have to stay within the law, but we have utilized our facilities at times for.
So you do have some options for this. This particular policy, if you would like to table it and contact the attorney for an opinion, and then bring it back next meeting after you've heard the opinion and make a decision there, that is an option if you feel better doing that. Now that these items have been brought up, and it does leave a lot of questions one way or the other, I just want to do what's right by you as a board and do what's right by the community. I do understand life in a small town. I don't live in the small town, but I've worked in the small town for 41 years. So I do understand life in a small town.
Well, I think, I don't know how you guys feel, but I wouldn't mind tabling it
I think it's reasonable.
until we talk to our attorney
I think that's probably
especially
prudent.
with it being a new policy. you know.
Correct.
I think, I'll make a motion that we table this policy till
Okay.
the next meeting.
All right, so with that being made, that is policy KF that he is proposing to table. And with that, we'll go to the administrative rule. It's no need to pass the administrative rule and put it in place until the policy is cleared.
So,
All right, so the motion is out there for that.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. That's
Well, wait just a minute,
No, I'm
Still-
thanking you.
oh, well,
for
thank
your
you. Yeah, thank you.
information.
I thought you were saying you were done. I'm like, no, we're not done.
I'm thanking you.
Thank you though, Dr. Taylor. Okay, there's a motion on the floor to table the policy.
So we do it, I need to do a second,
Yes.
second.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so now we're looking at the acceptance of ADF, EFE, and the exhibits that accompany that after you take that out. So now I'm seeking a motion for ADF, policy EFE, the administrative rule that will follow without board approval upon approval of the policy, and the exhibits for EFE.
I make a motion that we pass the policy ADF, policy EFE, administrative rule EFE-R, exhibit EFE-E1, and exhibit EFE-E2.
Thank you, Dr. Eichelberger.
I second it.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, now we're done with second reading, and we will move on to first reading. And as you note, these policies are all instructional in nature. I don't know how much you have been following the news to understand that we have a new state superintendent who has put a great emphasis on the science of reading, which is dubbed LETRS, L-E-T-R, I think it's L-E-T-R-S training, minus the E, minus the double T's. Becky's shaking her head as she leaves because she's in charge of that. And so because of the new methods that they put in place with this new legislation, which begins on page 112 and concludes on pages 115, it requires alignment of new policies because we were under the old Read to Succeed laws and we were under other rules and regulations. So that's how these policies came about, was the emphasis on letters training through the State Department of Education. So we're gonna briefly look at them one by one. And they start, if you would please turn in your policy, your booklet, page 116. We have policy IHAA, English Reading, Writing, and Language Arts. You have the current policy on 116, and you have the new policy on 117. And as you can see, there's a stark difference between those two things. Okay, so everything on page 117 is new. There are only two sentences taken from the old policy. So it talks about bringing children into the 21st century. It talks about a district instructional program for English and language arts that is based on scientifically based reading instruction in pre-K through 5th grade to assure that all those reading, writing, and speaking, listening, comprehending skills can be made. Also includes legible handwriting by the end of the 5th grade. So there's a big emphasis on that. And then it's talking about, putting in academic standards that also deal with, critical thinking in that third paragraph there. In the fourth paragraph, it's talking about aligning the curriculum, and it's talking about through a plan of how to align it with these new elements of the science of reading and what that plan should include. There are 4 bullets there that talk about what needs to be put into the plan. And it's called the Reading Proficiency Plan at the bottom. And as you can see, it applies to kindergarten through 5th grade. The reading plan is not new. In the past, we've done what you call a Read to Succeed plan. So it's pretty much the same. It's just based on the nuances. And David, you can help me with that since you are Assistant Superintendent of Instruction. It's based on the nuances of the new science of reading. Also, as part of that plan, the last sentence is really important. This will also apply to schools serving 6th through 8th grade with 50% or more students scoring at the lowest achievement level on statewide summative assessment. So in the past, it has not addressed middle school, but that's a change. If they meet those requirements, then the plan must have that in there too. All right, so we're moving on. If there are no questions to that, we are looking at IKE, promotion and retention. So on 118, 119, and 120, you have the old promotion or the current promotion retention policy. And if you look at page 121, that's where the changes start. It's in the units that are required by each grade level at the high school for one grade to move to the next. So I've highlighted the changes there. This document also has to this policy line up to your program of studies. So you were online tonight to have the program of studies brought to you for approval, but after this policy was shared with Fitz and David, they have tabled out so that they can get this information into the program of studies, so then when they bring it to you, it's cleaned up and follows these rules and regulations. Also on page 122, there's some new information about academic assistance, talking about what academic assistance is and how you do a record of reading progression to determine if a child needs academic assessment and how that academic assessment is provided to the State Department of Ed. That's kind of a new thing. You know, we've kept those records in-house before, but now the State Department is getting involved in that as well. Retentions in grades kindergarten through 2, that section is entirely new. And it's talking about kids that have not demonstrated appropriate grade level competencies. And the action of retention will be in the best academic interest of the student and based on the professional judgment of the school-based personnel with the principal. And then in Read to Succeed, Read to Succeed state mandated retention for grade 3. This, anybody that does not meet expectations or at the lowest achievement level on the state reading summative assessment, they're going to be required to enroll in a summer reading camp. Before, it's been a little wishy-washier than what it is now. But in other words, there's not going to be, you're going to enroll, you're going to successfully complete, or you're going to be retained, according to the state. And those changes are all listed on 122. 123, it talks about the appointment of education advocates. Parents can ask for an advocate to act on their behalf, to help their children, and if they ask for an advocate, then Mr. Schoolfield has to help them get that advocate. Then retention grades 4 through 8, it's pretty much the same as what it's been. It's just worded a little different in this policy, but it's the ultimate decision belongs with the principal as to how that goes and who is retained. But the interesting thing on 123 that I find interesting is we talk about retention. Look at the acceleration. That's new. How do they want you to accelerate kids in grades 1 through 8? And it gives you some good bullets there in the middle of that policy to talk about things that you should consider when you're trying to accelerate a child. Accelerate meaning moving them from one grade to another. And so that's all new as well. And then on page 124, We have to advertise this policy in a lot of different places, on our websites and our handbooks. We have to work to get this information out to parents so that there's a good, clear understanding of what the criteria for promotion and retention is, so they can make, so they're informed to make good decisions about it. Questions about that? Okay, and of course, with every good policy, always follows an administrative rule. That's your nuts and bolts as to how you carry it out. And so on page 125, 126, you have the administrative rule that's currently in place. And then on page 127, you have the new administrative rule that would accompany this policy. I highlighted in 127 that must enroll in a summer reading camp statement. That goes with the retention determination at 3rd grade. And also, I highlighted on page 128 lots of new information about how you go about getting the advocate, things that must be included in the plan. Those are all new items from the existing policy. Questions about that one? Okay. Policy ILB, test assessment administration. I found this very interesting. 129 is the current policy. 130 is the new policy. The only thing that's changed is they wanted to capitalize State Board of Education.
That's an easy one.
Easy. No changes. Okay, and then like we said, every good policy has a good administrative rule. So on page 131 is the current administrative rule for that. On page 132 is the new rule. And here is where the new science of reading, you start seeing that shine. It's highlighted a readiness assessment. We haven't done that under Read to Succeed, but we are doing that now under letters. It's highlighted universal reading screeners. That's new. And it's also talking about that test security must be maintained not only at the school level, but at the district level. For example, all these tests are delivered to the district office in boxes with David Schofield's name on them or either Paul Spadero's name on them. What do we do with those boxes? We have to put them behind lock and key to make sure that they are secure for David to receive so that when he gets them, he can distribute them to schools. So it's now district and school test security. Policy ILBB is state program assessments. That's the current policy on page 133. 134 is just chock full of the science of reading. The readiness assessment program that must be administered to pre-K through kindergarten students in the first 45 days of school is a requirement for the readiness assessment. And with the year 25-26, they're going to begin using reading screeners. And so it tells you that those have to be administered in kindergarten through 5th grade in the first 45 days of school. And then it tells you what information you can get from a screener. Those bullets there provide that information for you. Okay? And last but not least, the administrative rule that goes with state program assessments on page 136. That's the current rule. And 137. And then you get to 138, and what is different with 138, the administrative rule, is it addresses the needs of children with IEPs and 504 plans, that they must be using a computer assessment unless it says in their 504 plan or IEP that they're not able to do that. And if they're not able to do that, then we must provide a paper version of the test. And so that's pretty much all aimed at putting into place the IEP and 504 needs on page 138. Questions about that? All right, as with any other information, we will bring those policies back for second reading. Next meeting, if you have any questions or concerns about those policies, please feel free to email me. I'll do all I can in my power to answer you and point you in the right direction. If there are no further questions, that's all I have, Dr. Green, on that part.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So at this point, we finished the personnel, or actually, can you go into personnel? Yeah.
Yes, sir, I'd be glad to. At this point, we have a couple jobs that are advertised out there. We have a special education job that is out. We actually have 2 jobs that are out to be filled in special education. We are filling tomorrow. One of the bus driver positions is vacant. The gentleman that we selected has to come into his payroll information, and then he will actually begin work on Thursday. So with that being done, we're 3-hour transportation bus driver short, meaning a morning route and afternoon route, somebody who works 3 hours a day. And we are short 2 sped ed teachers that we're working on. Okay?
Good.
And that is all.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, we'll need to go to executive session to talk about an employee issue.
I'll make a motion that we enter into executive session for matters of personnel.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Ms. Anderson, I'm gonna